It's great honor and blessing to have another eminent speaker, Itumeleng Makale, who is an independent African holistic health advocate, African sovereignist, race vindicationist, scholar, writer, and a musician. His published work and current projects are Up You Mighty Race, a book published in 2017, currently working on two literary projects, namely Unshackle, Stepping on Toes, a case for the reorientation of African consciousness, and Psychology, the African indigenous paradigm. Now, stage is over to you.
Peace and love to you all in attendance of this wonderful conference, the Ubuntu-International Sleep Conference. My name is Tehuti Itumeleng Makale. I come to you grounded in the cosmo-ancestral powers that govern our indigenous knowledge stream. That is what qualifies me to speak on the subject that I am going to be speaking on, and that is sleep disorders and therapies according to Indigenous Knowledge Systems Africa, or IKS Africa. Before I can get into the crux of the topic, allow me to invoke musings from my current literary project, Psychology, the African Indigenous Paradigm. And I quote, Moto / Umuntu is a self-aware human being conveying themselves to life in uprightness and wholeness, nurtured to be a free and authentic being. And in being self-aware, Moto / Umuntu is also aware of the not self properties of their being. And that is their spirit quantum that entails energies, forces, and matter upon which consciousness is anchored for its reality or practical application or orientation for substance rendition to the meaning it gives to phenomena that are conceived or apprehended by the cognitive womb space that my Basotho people call Kelello, and Amaxhosa and other Nguni groups and other Nguni groups call Ingqondo, which is something that is much more deeper than what other epistemologies call the mind. Now, sleep disorders and therapies as the topic obviously galvanizes us around the problematic of disorder. And wherever there's disorder, the supposition would obviously be there's a particular order that has been either disrupted or violated. So after having invoked the musing from my current literary project that I have just said, that I've just shared with you as the backdrop, the purpose was to pave a way for myself to introduce you to our indigenous concept of being, you know, in our cosmo-ancestral parochial cultural paradigm as the Basotho people, because as an African, I speak from the parochial cosmic, you know, locus of the Basotho cultural orientation. Now we look at the composition of Motho or Umuntu, because we need to understand before we can engage on whether or not there's disorder in a particular aspect of our being. We have to engage in trying to know and understand the order that the supposition points at as what the disorder emanates from as per the violation or disruption. Other than that, we are not qualified to properly, diagnose any disorder, in any aspect or dimension, or area, of the life of, our patient. So the composition of Motho, Umuntu, we have Moya, our Nguni, brethren call that Umoya, and that is the spirit. And this, in our understanding, is the fuel that propels Motho, Umuntu, to live efficiently and productively. And that is why when it is said that Moya is down, Moya ofatsi, is when a person lacks the propelling energy that enables them to be fully functional. So then Moya, so Moya is what replenishes our being in its entirety, as Abantu, as Batho. This is our foregrounding to life, Moya, Umoya, spirit. And this is what has to be understood before all else. And from the spirit per manifestation, we have words, ideas, sounds, beats, rhythms, images, having, a regenerative effect to support, sustain, and enhance the being of Motho, Umuntu. And these are forms of spirit, Moya, Umoya. I'm referring to words, ideas, sounds, beats, rhythms, and images. These are the forms of spirit, or the forms that spirit or Moya or Umoya, takes into the intelligible world. Then Umoya can also be what we refer to as essence, seed in my language, peo. That gets planted, that takes root, and that grows up into everything that Motho, Umundu, is made of, and is also made to manifest. And then we also have the second constituent part of the being of Motho, Umuntu, and that is Mele. This is the physical body of a living human being, not the physical body of a human being. Because we also have Setopo, which is the physical body of a transitioned human being, a dead human being, or de-earthed human being. We call that Setopo, but the physical body of a living human being, we specifically call it Mele. And then the reason why we call, that Mele is because it envelops, another constitutive part or element of the being of Motho, Umuntu, and that is Semelo. And this is the spirit chemistry and mechanics behind what is experienced in Motho, Umuntu. It is that firm, erect or balanced posture of one's, Professor Wade Nobles calls spiritness, to determine what becomes of isimo, what we call isimo or seemo. Isimo from the Nguni people, and seemo from the Basotho people. So spiritness, as in the words of Professor Wade Nobles, is what determines what becomes of seemo or isimo. And what is that? And this takes us to the next constitutive element or part of our being, and that is seemo or isimo. Seemo or isimo is personality, character, mannerisms, rhythms, patterns, frequencies, and vibrations that are the exuding, the branching out, the manifesting and materializing of what I've already introduced, as semelo. So seemo is the radiance of semelo. And remember semelo, I said is that which mele, which is the physical body of a living human being, envelopes. Mele is the canopy of semelo. And the two words mele and semelo therefore become cognates. And the next constitutive element is sebele. Sebele is the wholeness of being. That is sebele, the wholeness of being. When I say nagasebele, I'm simply saying it's myself in spirit, mind, body, and soul. So the word sebele, encompasses all of those. And then the next constitutive element is kelelo, and this is the womb of conception, of the information and observation, where the movement of thought from the known to the unknown is initiated. This is the womb, conception, space of awareness, of knowing. We call that kelelo, from the word elelwa, which means to come to realization of. And then the next constitutive element is maikutlo, and this is the vibrational, connector to the awareness state in which cognition invokes, quote unquote, sense, which we call kutlo, and Amakhoza people call ukuva, to give meaning to whatever object of awareness there may be, or whatever is experienced, both intrinsically and extrinsically by moto, umuntu. So this part I deal with extensively, in my current literary project, Psychology, the African Indigenous Paradigm. So I felt I needed to introduce the audience to the paradigm that I am grounded in, and the knowledge stream that supports it, for my conceptualization of what my contribution is scoped and scaled in. So once we understand our concept of being, it means we understand the order that governs or calibrates how the being of umuntu is to be conveyed to life. Then the allopathic Western medicine appears to be devoid of an all-pervading and permeating holistic side to the being of a person in its many ever reciprocally interfacing dimensions. And allopathic medicine also seems to be failing, at the diagnostic level as a result, thereof. of the examination of a patient with false remedies to the misdiagnosed conditions being the inevitable consequence. What is housed by the human body, merely as, per our language, which is the envelope, of the essence, of being, the envelope of semelo. So this is what is housed. And what is housed by mele? Then this is both the biochemistry of our being and the spiritual chemistry of our being. So against this backdrop, I caution against the allopathic medical practices, wholesale medicalizing of every condition to which sleep disorder can be ascribed, not to engage in futile examination of patients without penetrative eye or tools enabling them to look at the being of a patient in holism. Then lack of knowledge and understanding of the spiritual chemistry, semelo, of a person and how it is synergized through energy systems corresponding to the person's different body systems and their respective cells, tissues, organs, and organelles. It gets them, and that is the patient, examined on a wrong chemistry to their being, and the one examining them is only looking at symptoms and not the problem thereof. With sleep, that is disorder means a certain order has been disrupted or violated. Here, sleep disorder could well be a symptom itself, and the violation or disruption of some order be the problem to be addressed. That order that is violated or disrupted is what calibrates a person to their sleep patterns, is what defines the purpose of sleep, which I will show later in this presentation, and how it transcends the confines of rest as among the important aspects of our well-being. Getting our body and mind to recuperate and rejuvenate through rest is not the only purpose sleep serves. There are things that a person's spiritual chemistry might require them to do in their consciousness of sleep that they wouldn't be able to do in their wakeful state of consciousness. And with blocked energy systems and veiled field of awareness or obscured field of awareness that heightens a person's inner holistic eye, a person will undoubtedly live a disordered life owing to their spiritual chemistry that is not active and alive to them. And consequently, especially where there are omissions in what has to be done or received in a state of the consciousness of sleep, there is bound to be stress, depression, and other signs of constrained human functioning as a result of a person's spiritual chemistry and biochemistry not being in reciprocal interweaving. And as a result, sleep patterns will unavoidably be affected. And sleep disorder, with all signs of constrained human functioning, will only be a symptom to a problem and not a problem itself. Helping a person to find, know, and understand the order of their being and its pathways of energy, spirits, conveying it to life, for them to realign with what could be just about, certain sleep disorder patients need. Restore the order, restore the healthy sleep patterns. The disoriented life is also projected in a person's state of consciousness of sleep, and the dreams they would have would anthropomorphically characterize aspects of their being that are not active in their lives due to their blocked energy systems and obscured field of awareness. These sad and horrifying dreams or nightmares also become doorways or gateways for outside spirit entities that are roaming around owing to their ancestral homelessness to try and simulate your inactive spiritual chemistry and become you become susceptible to the exploits of those who are ill intent with your life. This brings us to Boroko, Maroko, Amatongo, Amadlozi. When the Botswana people go to sleep, they see, sleep as serving a purpose that is, beyond, just getting the body and the mind to rest, recuperate, rejuvenate. And then they use this idiomatic expression, and that is "rebusetsa marapo ko go beng," which literally, translated, would mean we are returning the bones back to their source or back to those to whom they belong. This means when you sleep, you throw your body as divination bones or divination, divination instruments. You throw your body down as such, for your ancestors to speak to or through your body or the bones in the idiomatic sense, that your body, become, in that instance. For your ancestors to tell you what they see in you or through you. We call sleep boroko, interestingly. We call sleep boroko, which is a word that is in cognation with the word Maroko, with us, the Basotho people, and Amatongo with the Nguni people. And these, that is Maroko and Amatongo, are transitioned spirits from a person's genealogy, maternal or paternal, functioning as mediums, linking them to either their immediate or far distant in time ancient spiritual kindred, relevant to their purpose and medicine, and that is giftings in their present lives. And we mostly connect with Amatongo, Maroko, in our Boroko, and that is sleep, through dreams or trance states through visions. And we need to sleep to also functionalize our being, and that is energy, spirits, elements, forces, our life's orders are anchored in. Among the not self aspects of our being, there's also non-human spiritual cosmic entities or bodies that different people who are not necessarily blood relations can be connected or aligned to as their ruling cosmic force or power, representing one of the four elements: water, earth, and fire. We connect to Amadlozi through energy systems that correspond to our 12 body systems, example, nervous, nervous coordination or nervous coordinatory system, sensory system, respiratory system, digestive system, and so on and so forth. Another aspect is of nutrition, in relation to sleep patterns. Most physicians have this area that they're not schooled in, or that they're not schooled in properly, and that is the area of nutritional chemistry and biomineral balance. An imbalance in a form of either undernourishment or overnourishment of certain nutrients in the body is a factor, that also can be said to be contributing to getting one's life geared, on a posture of disorderedness. This biomineral imbalance also becomes one of the factors contributing to the blockage of a person's energy systems and obscuring of their awareness field, especially from eating stuff our bodies have no use for. In conclusion, not possessing the knowledge of self and the purpose of life inevitably renders living at polar positions with life itself and its order there is bound to be dissonance and dysfunction in how one conveys themselves to life. On this postulation, Ra Unnefer Amen, one of the leading scholars in Bantu Kemetian spiritual cosmology and the science of being, counsels us in his concise but radiantly. He defines cosmology as the blueprint to guide our steps in life to the true fulfillment of our mission on earth. He further explains it as thus, and I quote, cosmology, the study of cosmology, which he defines as the theory of the genesis and development of the world and the universe. Yes. The study of cosmogony has two fundamental goals. First, it provides ordered and unified or synthetic view of what is God, man, and forces that administrate and sustain the world. No understanding of a subject can take place without an ordered and unified presentation of its whole and parts. Second, cosmology, like all blueprints and maps, provides a framework that guides thinking and actions through vast array of seemingly unrelated life situations to the successful identification and attainment of the goal of living. It achieves this by showing how events in a person's life are integrally related to his or her destiny. So this brings us to the end of the presentation, and I greet you with, our Basotho, ancient words of peace. Khotso, pula, nala, lesedi, khanya, lesedi, khanya.
Thank you so much. Sir, you have sent us light. You said lesedi, and that means light, and it's a wonderful blessing. Your presentation was really good. Unfortunately, we are not having Mr. Itumeleng for question and answer sessions because of power failure and internet issues. And we are so thankful to him and all the presenters who anticipated that and sent us videos. So we were able to at least run their videos, and they were able to at least present with their presentation here. Thank you so much. And if there are any queries, please convey those to us, and we will convey that to Mr. Itumeleng. Thank you so much, and we will go to the next session. Thanks a lot.